I did not plan on making this video. I realized that I had to because I just finished watching She's Got to Have It. And I realized that today I'm like telling my bosses about like how much I was annoyed with the show. And it made me realize that, you know what? I shouldn't be telling my bosses this. I should be telling this to a friend. But I don't have any friends I could really sit and talk to about like She's Got to Have It and what was bothering me so much about the show. So I decided, why not tell it to the internet? Because there are people out there that have things to say about She's Got to Have It season 2. It was a slog to get through. It was real slog to get through. I felt like maybe this show is not for like my kind of black. I don't know. I'm a different kind of black that just won't get this because I'm not. I don't know. I didn't go to HBCU or something. I didn't have like intellectually black friends. I don't live in like a certain like a black middle class. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's a certain kind of black, artsy, creative, super smart, super poetic, super like painting a lot type of person. Maybe I'm not that person. You know, I'm just not that person, so I don't get this show. But after seeing the critiques, I realized I'm not. It's not a matter of me not being that person. It's just that the show's. It wasn't really well. I don't know. Really was. I don't want to be like super critical and be like, you know. But it's like it really wasn't that well done to me. It was alright. I love the lead, the Wanda. She's amazing. I must say that I did enjoy the acting with the actors. Even the child actors, I still enjoyed their acting. I just honestly think it's just what they had to work with. And I did enjoy the cultural elements that were added to the story, the music, the quotes, the literature, the spotlight on art, on black art, on black music, on Prince, all that stuff, on Puerto Rico, its culture, on Brooklyn, on the photographs that are in the title sequence for the show. I enjoy all those aspects. Like those are like some of the best parts of the show. I enjoyed Shemeka, Racoletta Moss, Mars a little bit, Greer's a relationship with the Amber Rose lookalike. I did love that fine ass Nigerian British guy that she was like that Nola was with. Like, oh my gosh, like I think that's one of my types. Like I needed that. Like I needed him in my life. Like, oh, that accent, that dark skin, that body. Oh my gosh, he is so beautiful. He is gorgeous. Those lips. Oh my gosh, like come on, like, oh, he was one of the other best parts of the show. And I did enjoy seeing a little bit more of Mars. I do see, kind of find Mars a little bit more attractive as I watch the show. Especially when I saw him hooking up with Clorinda. He was wearing his, like, his Nike Pro Tech, them fucking, those little like compression shorts things, and he was wearing his little like basketball shorts, and he was like wearing his Jordans, and he didn't want to take his Jordans off. I mean, that was kind of like immature and like ridiculous, but at the same time it's also kind of like the bird in me enjoyed it. Like, yeah, you could fuck me in your Jordans, boo, like for real. Although it was kind of corny and dumb that he's like laying in the fucking bed in his fucking Jordans. And I'm just like, get out of her bed with your Jordans, you fucking asshole. What are you doing? Like, that was dumb as fuck. But at the same time, it's like, a part of me kind of like, I wouldn't mind fucking you in your Jordans. Like, it's not a problem. Like, I would not mind. Like, what are we doing here? Like, you're, like, we could do this. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love him. I do think Lyric Bent is also a very attractive man. He's very handsome. He's very sexy. He could go balls deep. You know, it's that's where I'm at. Like, he could do it. It's whatever. Yeah, I just think there were a lot of beautiful men on this show. People say that like it's visually stunning because it really is beautiful. It really does. Like, I was watching Kim from the channel for Harriet. She did her review of it, and and she speaks to it like far better than I can. Like she did, like she's so right. The cinematography is beautiful, and she brings up a great point. His cinematography, how he shoots the show, is very much a love letter to how much he loves Brooklyn, and it's just like he shows Brooklyn in such a beautiful light, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the show for that. For the most part, that was it. I enjoyed the parts I enjoyed. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. The thing about the first season was that it had a similar issue, but I just like got past it because it was just like, it's whatever, girl. Like trying to appeal to, I guess, the millennial audience with some of the language, like dope and lit and all that stuff. I saw where that was a little cringy and uncomfortable, but I was just like, you know what, whatever. We're not going to like harp on that too much. Like, let's go with this story. I felt like the tone of the show was kind of all over the place as well, and I feel like in the second season they really piped that shit up when it came to like the thing that got on my goddamn nerves is when they were having that protest outside of that press conference thing. They closed down where Mars worked, and Mars like chimes up and says, "Oh, I gotta move keys now." And I was just like, and everybody looked at him like, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm working at this key shop." I was like, what? What? How? And I feel like that was supposed to be funny, but it just came across as like corny as fuck. And somebody said that, like I was watching The Grapevine. They had a discussion reviewing the first season of She's Got to Have It, and they said like basically all of the men that Nola Darling is dating are all like, they're all corny. They're all different versions of a corny man, but they are all corny. And I kind of have to agree. And it's just like in that moment where Mars said that, I was like, it exemplified how corny he is and how corny a lot of these men are on this show. Like, oh my gosh. Another terrible line that I hated was when the landlady came up and was asking Nola for the check, and she was like, no, she came and she was like, the check bounced. And she was like, Nola, the only bounce I like is a Spalding against a hardwood floor. And I was just like, that was annoying because all I thought was, that is Spike Lee paying homage to Spike Lee. It felt less like this was a show that I was supposed to be consuming, and it was not my business to consume this show. It was supposed to be a show that Spike Lee made for himself, and that I should not be like seeing this because this is none of my business. This is his business, and he created it so that he can like do some self-glorification, you know, because the whole like praying to Jordan and like Jordans and stuff, like I get it. Spike played Mars in the original movie, which I still haven't seen yet. I kind of want to watch it, but I also kind of don't want to. The show itself is like, they go into spoken word sometimes. They pull up things and do like, I get it, homages to like black art and black perseverance and creativity and all this great stuff. But it's just like some of this stuff it just feels like it stalls the narrative just to like pop in and say, hey, history and blackness, and like it just turns into like this brochure, this like visual moving brochure of like history and great black people and Puerto Rico, and you know, it's in the injustices and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I feel like that can be woven into the narrative and be a part of the story and a part of the show, a part of dialogue, and it can be done naturally. And then sometimes it feels very after school special, the acting. Well, not even the acting, but it's just like the dialogue when they talk about things. Like I think when that like white lady, that gentrifying white lady, was talking to Divine, who is formerly Poppy, who is formerly the mayor of the block. Whatever, girl. Their conversation felt a little after school special, and they were trying to do their best. Sitting on this stoop talking about gentrification and how this woman called the cops on this man, this black man, who she thought put this G when it was that white man. Oh my God. let me tell you about that white man with the gold front talking about Uhuru and Ashe and Nation Time and blackness and all that stuff. And he's like, my black sister, my ebony wife. And the thing about that actor is he's really good at doing his job, because every time I looked at him and just seeing him act, I was just like, I cannot see him as he felt like a cartoon character. He just felt unreal. He felt like a real life person that was not real. That was just like, on this show they created him created his flesh, his bones, his everything. And this is who they created, this person with this personality. And outside of this show, this is exactly who this person is. Because it's just such a ridiculous, over the top character that I'm like, I cannot see somebody who is an actor transforming into this. Like, I mean, it does, but it's just so outrageously ridiculous and kind of annoying. And I don't understand why Nola is so mad at him at the fucking retreat, and she calls him out, and she gives him all the time to talk and tell his story. I'm like, why are y'all giving this man time to tell his story? All these black people in here, and you just didn't say, shut up, I don't want to hear your story, you ain't shit, you defaced my art, you did all this, and then you're in here just like taking up space. I don't want to hear what you have to say. Fuck that. I'm mad at you. I'm calling you out. No, she didn't. That's not what sis did. Sis just stood there and then she screwed up. I was like, girl, no. Why are we listening to him? I was yelling at the screen, not listening. So I'm like, girl, why are we letting this man talk? Like, I talked right through half of what he was saying, because I was like, why is this man still talking in this space for black people? And we feel like he's taking up space and inserting himself in something that he doesn't need to insert himself into. Because he's already, as much as he feels like he's so fucking black man in a white body, he didn't say that, but it felt very like, I'm the black man in a white man's body. It felt very Rachel Dolezal, and I was like, girl, no, you don't need all that. And I almost feel like Nola deserved it when he took his 10,000 endowment that was backing her. She deserved it when he took that money from her, because what the fuck, girl? Like, you didn't even cuss him out. If you cussed him out, like, I mean, she cussed him out, but if you shed his, I'd be like, I'm fine, take your money, white man, I don't give a fuck. Donate it to black women that need it out there or whatever. But it's like, this was so, I was just like, I was in my bag. This show it had me in my bag. I will give the show that. It made me feel emotions. Negative emotions. I tend to feel like I'm not as super cultured in my, like, or cultured and critical in how I watch shows and read books and watch movies and stuff like that, and even listen to music. But it's like, when She's Got to Have It, I almost, like, going into it, I almost felt like, maybe I'm not smart enough, or I'm not cool enough, or cultured enough to get some of what's going on. And then it's like, I see people's critiques, and I'm like, they're very similar to how I felt about the show, because a lot of what they're saying, like, there were heavy-handed moments, like the whole Puerto Rico thing, it felt heavy-handed. Like, I really got to understand what it meant when someone says heavy-handed. Like, the kids acting, and they're talking about, like, Nola sleeping with, like, the boy's father, and these kids cussing at them and talking to them, like, and I'm like, I get it. It's like, these kids are like 12, 13, they're not dumb, they're not stupid, they learn a lot of shit. They think they're grown and blah, 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 whatever. But at some point, you're kind of stretching fucking imagination, like, you're stretching a lot of shit here, where this little child is showing up talking about this question is not rhetorical and all kinds of drama, and getting up in grown people's faces about like, mind your little ass business. I was looking at these kids, mind your business. And another thing that annoyed me too with them kids was that they had them kids sitting on the stoop, and that girl was was looking like she was like braiding this little boy's hair. And I'm just like, okay, we did not need to do this at all. Because it just looked like, I get it, you're kind of trying to give these kids something to do that's like some socializing involved, where she's braiding his hair, but it just seemed like, and then to find out at the end of all that like, he was gonna take the braids out anyway, because his mother, being that she's like light skinned and she don't really do that nigga shit. she was just gonna be like, you can't have them braids in because you're not gonna be like those hoodlums on the street or whatever. To know that that was gonna happen, I was just like, why do we have this child braiding this other child? I didn't need it. I didn't want it. It felt, and it also felt a little patriarchal, but whatever, girl. Whatever. I just feel like we didn't need to have that little boy sitting there looking like he's trying to get his hair braided when I'm just looking, and it just took me out of the show too, because I'm just like thinking like, somebody braided half of his head to make it look like this little girl who don't look like she knows how to braid nobody's hair, like especially that boy's like curly hair. She don't look like she knows how to braid his hair that well. Okay, that looks like, I would have believed it more if half his head was braided and it looked a little off kilter and a little crazy. And I don't want to like, make assumptions that that little girl does not know how to braid because her mother is like, I'm not sure what Opal is. I feel like Opal might be Latinx. She does look Native American. She does look like an indigenous person. But I also just kind of feel like her hair is straighter. She's not likely teaching her daughter how to braid. She might be able to. Half the time she didn't exactly intricately braid Skylar's hair. Skylar's hair in that episode was a big poof of afro. So I'm just kind of like, ooh, I'm harping so hard right now on this moment where this little girl and hair and braiding, and this is ridiculous. Like, some of the show is kind of ridiculous. And I will say, for the second season, the only episode I might really like, I think was episode 8, when Shemeka had the party for the women, presenting them her new product that she made and all that stuff. Like, I think I really liked that episode because that episode it reminded me of Insecure. And it made me feel like it's a moment where women are bonding and talking and discussing. And it just felt grounded and real. A lot more real than the rest of the show has really been. Like Kim for Harriet was saying, it's most likely probably going to get a third season then. And like Kim was saying, like, pare down some of the characters on the show. Let it be down to Clorinda and Nola and maybe Mars, maybe Adam Greer. We don't need to have Overstreet, because part of the problem was that additionally his wife, and seeing Nola at the school, and then she pulled her to the side and she confronted her, and it was this drama on the side of I was like, this is kind of embarrassing, and like we really should be doing this right here right now. And even if we're gonna do this, we don't need to be doing all of this talking about World Star Hope. I'm like, that is so corny. Why was that written? What is going on with this show? Jamie Overstreet had nothing but just like stalking his wife, and I was like, what does this have to do with Nola? We don't care. Just because in last season Jamie was with Nola, all of a sudden we must care about following Jamie's life after Nola. Like, we don't care because it has nothing to do with Nola. This is what we came for. This is who the show was supposed to be about. What the fuck is going on over here? This was not binge worthy for me. There are shows where it's like binge worthy, where it's like, oh, I could watch, like, ooh, one more episode. This episode, the episode was done, and I was like, do I want to watch it? No, I'm not gonna watch it. Back to browser. And I'm off. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I watched the show. I finished the entire season. I just watched one episode at a time and came back when I felt like, even just to come back, I was just like, I was not excited about it. I was like, let's see what adventure we get into with this show. The Prince episode wasn't too bad, but at the same time, it was kind of like, oh, I guess, girl, whatever. I was just like, who is writing this show? And just like, the whole time I'm just thinking, Spike Lee wrote all of this, and he's giving me Tyler Perry tease. That's what I felt like with She's Got to Have It, that Spike was just like, although I hear there are women in the writer's room, it just felt like Spike was writing the entire show, and he's like the old man in the club, trying to like do young people stuff, but at the same time trying to tell young people that, like, well, back in my day, our music was popping, and this was flying, this was cool as fuck, and this was the shit. but at the same time still wanting to be like dope and lit. My young niggas like what? Like it just felt like, I don't know. It was just like a lot going. It really was a lot going on this show, but at the same time, not enough of it like went together. Like I feel like I really saw where he pulled real life people in to do some acting to tell us things about history and about like like blackness or whatever, and it was just kind of like, I get it, these people know what they're talking about, but at the same time, this would be better suited to you creating a documentary about these things, or a documentary series might have actually been better for Spike to do, where these things that he brings up in the show, he can dedicate episodes to each of these things and bringing these people in and having them talk about it and interviewing them, instead of trying to make a show and then have Nola go do these things and show up at these places and get involved. And I don't know, girl. I don't know. Like, this show was a thing. I'm really trying to get all my thoughts out that I felt about this show and not miss a beat. I feel like I hit all the important beats. That the show is just like a lot of... It was a lot. It was kind of heavy-handed with some of the, like, stuff that happened. Oh my gosh, the Shemeka thing. Ooh, when Shemeka got the boot. Because you see, on Pose, they did it better. They handled that situation a lot better and more realistically, where Candy got the butt shots, and the butt shots didn't agree with her, and Sis passed out on the ballroom floor. Whereas on She's Got to Have It, Homegirl got her booty inflated and ends up falling down as she's going up some stairs, and it pops. And it's like, that's where you have to see, like, oh my gosh, Tone Shift is crazy and weird, because it's not absurdly funny. Like, Atlanta can be absurd, and it can get a little dark humor, but it's still like, you get it. It knows how to balance these things. This show is trying to do a lot of different... It's trying to be, like, really dramatic while still being very, like, comedic, but also be satire, I feel, at times, but also be a little absurd. Because even, like, Fat Joe's accent is a little absurd, like how he talks. I kind of get where he's going, where he's kind of like this Latinx Italian man, but at the same time, he's just very, like... It kind of got annoying to an extent. Like, I didn't want to be annoyed by it, but at the same time, it's just like, ooh, why y'all giving him so much lines? Why is he talking so much? And why is he and Jamie in this thing? No one cares, because this makes no sense. And it's like, why did you beat that man up just to... Why is this happening? Why is this show happening? What is happening in this show? Because it's just like... It's outrageous. It's just outrageous. But that Shemeka thing, Sis fell off and it just exploded, and then she kind of went to the hospital, and then it was kind of in pain, kind of not. She was scarred. It was kind of like, I was just like, oh my gosh, how is this working? How is this... Like, yeah, I guess, girl, like, this show, it works or whatever. I really had to get these thoughts out. I really had to get these feelings out, because I watched this show, both seasons, in their entirety, and a show, girl, a show. Watch it if you won't. Watch it if you won't. So I just found out that She's Got to Have It was canceled on Netflix, and I'm just hoping that going forward, that with Spike having this access to Netflix, he can open up those doors for other creators, other like writers, people who have created shows, web series or whatever. Maybe he can reach out to them, or I don't know, make a call for them to come in, and he can open up the doors and say, hey, I can get you into Netflix, executive produce your show. I do think it would be amazing if Spike Lee did a docuseries exploring Black art, Black culture, Black issues, where he brings in experts, professors, historians, academics to be interviewed by journalists, and I don't know, just like very influential people who are familiar with whatever topics they're discussing, and build a documentary where that also kind of like gives the research and photos and imagery and videos and all that stuff, and just like make it this cool docu-series that talks about Black culture. And doing that on Netflix would be amazing. Like, I'm telling you, like, the audience would be amazing for that. I'm hoping that even with the cancellation of She's Got to Have It, there are great things to come from Spike Lee and 40 Acres and a Mule. It would be amazing if he did a great docu-series and also brought in like new young creatives to do shows on Netflix. You know, I don't know how the logistics and the contracts and all of that, how that works, but if it can be done and it'll work, go for it. I'm here for it. Besides that, definitely check out, I've linked some videos of other reviews that I've watched that I enjoyed that really also break down similar thoughts to mine, but they have even more and even better articulation of their feelings on this. So definitely check them out, especially check out Kim from For Harriet. She really breaks it the fuck down. She did her thing. Check out ThatsKeAndra. Definitely check out their videos. I'm out this bitch.